My husband hit me over the head, gave me a black eye, and now I am having trouble looking at him in the same way. I love my husband, and we always talked about how we were meant to be together. He is so sweet most of the time, but something terrible happened the other day, and I don't know what to do now. I was just getting home from work. I work nights, and he had been drinking. I was in the bathroom when he unexpectedly opened the door and came in to use the shower. I didn't have a huge problem with it, but I mentioned that he startled me and how I wasn't sure if I was comfortable with him being in there while I was showering. He responded by saying, "This isn't just your bathroom. What was I supposed to do? Wait for you?" I said that, yeah, that's what he'd have to do if I set a boundary. He said that I was selfish and that I shouldn't want any privacy if I was married. I didn't want to argue, but that sounded ridiculous to me. So I challenged him, saying it is reasonable for me to want privacy in the shower, and asked him to help me understand why that was a problem. He replied, "Excuse me, say that again. I dare you." When I wouldn't back down, he grabbed onto my arms and asked me again, "Excuse me?" So I repeated myself, and that's when he hit me in the head. It was so hard, I started crying. I felt the room start to spin, and I immediately felt a huge bump forming on the side of my head. He hit me again for crying, and I finally begged him to let me go so I could look at the damage. I did, and it looked terrible. When I came back into the bathroom, I asked him to feel it, and he started inspecting the bump before pushing down hard on it, saying he was feeling it. It hurt so bad, I started having a panic attack, but he started to scream over and over again, and my ears stopped faking it. I was scared for my life. I tried to leave, but he blocked the door and ran to the front door to lock it. So I left out the back door and ran across the block to the car so he wouldn't see me and stop me. When I left, he called my mom and just said we argued, and I got mad and left. She called me, and I told her everything. She said I needed to report him and go to the emergency room. I went to the ER, and they told me I had a concussion and a bone fracture. I didn't report him because I didn't want to ruin his life, even though the whole time he was texting me, saying that I was being foolish to report him and that he wouldn't get in any trouble. I told him what he'd done to me, and he was still writing nasty things. I was going to leave him, but I was afraid to get my stuff, so I got one of his friends to go with me and calm him down. However, he went crazy, and the friend had to keep holding him back from attacking me. I hid in the car, I was so afraid, and the friend eventually got in the car too. Then my husband was banging on the door and pulled so hard on the handle that he ripped it off. He was still writing me nasty things afterward as well. I finally got the cops to escort me to grab my stuff, and thankfully I managed to get out of there. When I was driving away, he started messaging me, saying he was going to hurt himself because he messed up the only thing he'd ever wanted. I didn't want him to do that, so I went home and talked him out of it. He was crying so hard and begging me not to leave and said that he would change. Of course, I didn't believe him. Now my family all hate him, and I understand why. The way he acted that day wasn't anything like how he usually is. I didn't even recognize him. The bump has moved down and turned into a black eye. It looks so bad, and every time I look in the mirror, I'm reminded of it and feel sick. Yesterday, I had a flashback and got so dizzy that I threw up. I don't know how I can ever get this out of my head, but other than this, I truly thought he was my soulmate. He's my best friend, and we have done almost everything together for the past 3 years. I love him, and he usually treats me like a queen. I couldn't imagine losing him, but now I have no idea what to do. He's agreed to go to therapy and counseling. Should I give him another chance?